Hello, how is everyone doing? Let's just make sure. Are we good with audio? Andrew, say something.
Yeah, I think we're okay. Testing, testing.
Okay. And I think we are on Instagram. We've got a new setup today. So maybe if you're on Instagram, if you can just let us know. Okay, we're good. We've got a confirmation over there. Perfect. All right. So, thank you guys for joining us. We're super excited to have this opportunity to connect with you guys again. I know it's been a while, but we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming with the Graffiti X, and so yeah, we're pumped to have you here. Where's everyone joining from? We've got can see already Philadelphia, Oregon e-biker Mark. How's it going? We've got someone from Toronto, Alexandria, some Canadians, West Virginia. Ooh, lots of names I haven't actually seen before too. This is fun. And let's see who we've got here on Instagram. Quebec, Jersey, Minnesota. Awesome. So people joining from all over. Amazing. Well, we're happy to have you all here. What we're going to do today is just kind of give you guys an overview of the Graffiti X features, fill you in on some events that we have coming up, and then, of course, dive into all of the FAQs. So is everything okay? We good?
What do you mean?
Oh, I thought you said something.
No.
Okay. And then, of course, we're going to open it up to you guys to walk through to answer all of your questions, basically. So you can keep those coming in the comments as questions come up. We will sort of cover some of the basics at the start here. But yeah, I want to remind you guys, we do have the reservations open right now. So if you are seriously considering getting a Graffiti X on Tuesday of next week, that's May 28th, it'll open up to reservation holders. And if you have a reservation, you get 15% off. So that is an exclusive offer to reservation holders only. So if you are interested in that, you're definitely going to want to get that reservation before Monday end of day. So it'll cut off Monday end of day. So make sure that you don't miss that if you want that 15% off. I will put the link in the chat in case any of you guys need that. And it's $49. And then again, that's going to save you 15% or $600 when it goes on sale. It also, we have sold over 50% of the first batch already. So, we're going to obviously keep selling into batch 2 once batch 1 sells out. But if you want to be guaranteed that earlier delivery, which we're targeting August, then again, getting that reservation is going to give you a much greater chance of getting it on batch 1. So people are very excited about this one, as are we. So yeah, definitely grab the reservation. Andrew, how are you doing?
Good. I'm calling in from Squamish, BC, which is where our home is in Canada here.
Yeah.
And where are you, Andy?
I'm great. And I'm in LA. So recently relocated here and representing south of the border. We're actually just in New York. Oh gosh, it seems like forever ago, but I think it was just last week. And got to meet up with a lot of people. I think probably there's a few of them on here right now. But yeah, met up with a bunch of the e-bike crews there and did a group ride, which was amazing, riding through Manhattan. And this bike is like so perfect for New York. I was shocked at how easy, the bike lanes are so well set up there to just be able to zip through anywhere you need to go from, I got from downtown to, I guess, Midtown it would be, which would normally take 30 minutes in a car. And I think it took me 13 minutes. So yeah, if you're in New York, this is definitely a great way to get around. But yeah, we have some other events coming up as well. So we're going to be doing a demo at Burn the Ships in Redondo Beach. So if any of you guys are in Southern California, definitely come out and see us on Saturday. We'll be there from 12 to 3. And you can book a spot. So let me see. I didn't get that link ready. I'll put it in the chat shortly here. And what else do we have coming up? I think the other things I wanted to touch on are we have a ton of reviews coming as well. So we've been working to coordinate with a number of reviewers. So Run Playback, Shreddy, Area 13, E-Rock, Mr. Central Driver, Mike Feedy. They are all going to be doing reviews. Some of them will start coming out next week, so stay tuned for that. And then they'll be rolling out throughout the month. We also have CNET doing a review, potentially Forbes, potentially Rob Report. So yeah, we're still coordinating a number of them, but stay tuned for that. There'll be lots of great content. What else? Why don't we jump into some of the features? Andrew, I will throw it over to you if you want to kind of talk through, as you were the brains behind this.
Yeah, so looking back from kind of where we came with the 2022 model, the 2022 was a great entry into the space. You want to see anything about it, watch our friend Oregon e-biker Mark's videos. A lot of the feedback that kind of came from that was like, love the power, love everything about the bike. I just wish that it had full suspension. So we had kind of set to motion to develop the full suspension version. And so that is one of, the key features of the design of this bike, was to make it full suspension. We elected to have sort of a dual shock rear suspension on there. And with that, there's actually two different suspension attachment points at the back, at the top of the suspension. It really changes the attack angle of the suspension.
Sorry,
and
I think here while you talk about it.
and we're just trying to find the photo on there now. But there's basically just two different mounting holes. When you set it further forward, it slightly softens the suspension a little bit. And it's where you would want to set the suspension if you're kind of like predominantly riding with a single rider. And then you would set it up higher if you're predominantly riding with two riders or riding with a lot of cargo, or if you're kind of a heavier rider. You would set it into that higher position. That's just one of the adjustments for that rear suspension. And then it comes with a standard 70-pound spring on the shock, but those can be changed out. So we're going to have some optionality in the shop to change that out to either a 55-pound spring for those folks that want like a softer suspension, or to like a 90-pound spring if they want even more. So there's like a lot of adjustability there. And then kind of going to the front, we've got, when you make a bike that's this fast, it's really important to have strong and stable suspension as well. There's a lot of folks that, kind of DIY these and take a bike that's not that fast and make it really fast. And yeah, you can do it, but not all that safe. But we've made these really thick stanchions on the front of the suspension. And I think you'll see from the testimonials, like it is really, really stable that way. And it's got lots of travel. So about 160 mils of travel up front. So tons of suspension up there. So we really hope you kind of enjoy the softness of that ride. And then with that, do you want me to just keep kind of going through the list, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with it,
an overview, I think it's good to have the just the context of why the decisions were made. I think people are always interested in hearing the backstory. So
yeah, for sure. So again, like, not to keep comparing it too much to 2022, right? But we loved the bike, the way that bike rode. Lots of the folks that own that bike love the way that bike rode. And so we thought, okay, well, if we're going to give it this full suspension, and people said, well, if it's going this fast, then, might as well give it the suspension. Well, we thought, okay, well, now we've got the suspension, why not take it and make it just a little bit faster? Mm-hmm. So we added a 60-volt battery on there. And I think most of you have seen recently that with that, we've also been able to make that a 40 amp hour. When we initially launched this, we had squeezed 35 amp hours out of the battery case that we developed. Now we've got 40 amp hours out of it. So it's got a heck of a lot of range on it now. And at 60 volts, and the fact that it's a big battery allows us actually to draw a lot of current out of it. And amps really equals fun. And I'm going to get to that later, but amps is what gives you the fun out of these things. So
I think the battery placement too, being that it's lower, we actually had a number of people comment on that when we were demoing the bike in New York, just that it felt really stable, and just, the weight distribution was really great. So I think that's a nice feature there as well.
Yeah, that's kind of a design element that, obviously you see in traditional motorcycles a lot, where the motor, the heaviest part of the motorcycle sits really low in the frame. And so this kind of sits and feels planted because of that fact. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in case anyone's wondering, the main battery case itself is an anodized aluminum case. So it's a really durable case. It's made to, be able to take a bit of a beating.
All right.
And in case, what other details you want to know on the charge port and the output port are the same. So you can easily just pull the output plug in, plug the charger right into the charge port. And that allows us to have that 8 amps of charging.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then also 3,000 watt motor, 7,200 peak watts, seats 2 passengers. We definitely tested this out when I was in New York as well. And it had no problem. We were, me and the CNET reporter were ripping around through Central Park and accelerating up the hills there, at 30 miles an hour. So, and yeah, between the two of us, it was a decent amount of weight. So, comfortably sat both of us, and again, no problem carrying both of us. So I think that's a big differentiator for us, is that all of our bikes do seat 2 people and can actually handle 2 people. So if you're concerned about that, don't be with us. And then the carbon belt drive, we didn't talk about that, which keeps the bike really low maintenance. There's not many bikes out there with that feature. And then, yeah, of course, dual sport tires, full light package with the turn signals, a 6,000 lumen headlight. We can kind of go through some of these pictures here. We also have the photos up on the website now, the actual photos of the colors. Everyone was really, I think at first the render of the green one, people weren't necessarily sure, but in real life, everyone who's seen this definitely loved it. And you can see here, it's a really cool matte green color. So this one's picking up in steam now with the reservations, now that the pictures have been put up on the site. And the navy blue is super cool also. So no bad choices with color. I'm actually curious with everyone on here, which color is your fave? Let's see. I think we get a bit of a delay here with the comments. What's your favorite, Andrew?
My favorite, I'm between the blue and the black, but if I was to purchase today, I'd purchase the blue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you liked the green one when we were initially.
Yeah, and then I've fallen in love with the blue one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
got votes for, kind of all over the place. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I actually like them all. I don't know if I can pick a favorite. The black's super sexy, but I'm really liking the green too. And yeah, I mean, the blue's great also. I don't know. It's tough to pick one, but it seems like they're all going to be quite popular. Okay. I guess, sorry, I did see in the chat someone was asking if we could introduce ourselves. My bad for not doing that. I'm Andy Caruso, Andrew Lester. We're the co-founders. Sorry, we didn't say that at the start. Okay, well, why don't we start jumping into some of the questions? We've covered, the key features, and I guess just, things to keep in mind. We have like really designed this as well, thinking about various use cases that the bike can be used for. So, of course, this is going to be a bike that the e-bike enthusiasts love. It's, super fast and powerful and not much like it in the market. It's also a really great bike for campers or van lifers. It's got the dual sport tires, the suspension, so you can take it off road. And with the 2-passenger capability, it's like a perfect van life accessory, if you will. Same thing for like surfers. You can throw the surf rack on the side. We will actually, that just reminded me, we will have the rear rack and side extenders available, as well as some rails or handles that make it a bit easier to kind of grab onto the back of the bike. So those will be accessories that are available as well. And we'll have those up on the site in the next few days here. Yeah. Okay. So let's jump into the FAQs. We'll just start going through.
There were some questions about when you were talking about being on the bike with the CNET reporter, and then all the questions about the weight limit of the bike and the rider weight limit came up.
Okay. Well, let's start there.
So I think maybe what I'll do is I'll sort of talk about a little bit around why there are weight limits on e-bikes to begin with, because I think folks will shy away from a bike when they're above the weight limit, but I think if you kind of understand the limitations and then work within them sometimes, then kind of whether or not you're taking a risk. So the two things that cause there to be a weight limit on e-bikes is the motor and the brakes. So going down a steep hill too much with too much weight, you can cause the brakes to overheat. And going up a steep hill with too much weight, you can cause the motor to overheat. Now the motor, because there's limiters in the controller, when the motor gets hot, it's just going to shut your bike down. But you wouldn't be very happy with us if you live in a hot climate and you are overweight on the bike for it to be riding up the hill. But if you're riding on a flat plane, then you're probably never going to overheat the bike, nor are you going to overheat the brakes. So best to know your terrain. But the weight limit overall for the bike. Sorry, Andy, do you want to jump in?
No.
Oh, yeah. So the weight limit for a rider, we're putting at around 250 pounds in total of rider weight, because you have to take into account the bike weight as well, if that makes sense. But again, like if you're riding in generally flat plains, you're not trying to do like really steep hills, then like I don't know if you guys saw the hill climb video where I'm doing like a 17% grade on this bike. Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that with 300 pounds of rider weight, either up or down, because you can kind of risk overheating the motor and overheating going down as well. And that's actually on most e-bikes.
Yeah. I can attest, though, from a power standpoint, it can handle more than the capacity. But again, for safety reasons, listen to Andrew.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, when we're testing it, we overload it, right? Like I've had lots of extra weight on there to make sure that it handles it right. But we hold to the safe limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to man the questions in both, but while we're talking weight, let's go the full weight of the bike.
Yeah. So the full weight of the bike is about 120 pounds.
And that includes the battery for
includes
those of
the
you
battery.
that'll be the next question. The battery is around 25, 30 pounds on its own.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's about, yeah. And the reason for the weight, so motorcycle wheels, motorcycle spokes, motorcycle tires, metal battery case, quite a large battery on it. So that's where you're getting the extra weight over something like our graffiti model.
Yeah. Great. Okay. And then this sort of goes with the last question. So can you charge the battery outside of the unit? You can, yes. So it is, you can just slide it off and bring it inside if you need to.
Yeah, so the charge port is right on the front of the battery. So you can take and it's the same as the power cable. So you take the power cable off, put the charger in. But if you want to take it inside, if you look at this picture in the back where there's this little circle, that's the lock for the battery. And there's kind of a straight line kind of drawn up from there. If you take that back triangle, cut that off, that whole other piece like comes out, and the handle on the top, you can carry the battery inside.
Great. All right, so we'll start ripping through these questions in order now. So, any plans to release a thumb throttle? What about extending the seat height?
We don't have plans to release a thumb throttle right now because on the Graffiti X, the twist throttle, the horn, and the key. So you actually, for extra safety, there's a key on this to turn it on and off with a key. That's all one integrated unit. And so there's actually quite a bit of extra wiring to be able to use a thumb throttle on this. Extending the seat height, no, we don't have plans for that. That's not all that easy to do, to be able to create a seat extender. I'd be interested in seeing how many people are looking for that kind of thing, though.
If you guys check out some of our earlier Graffiti X things that we posted on Instagram, the gentleman who was in the photos, Matt, he's around like 6'2", 6'3", I think. So that'll give you a bit of a guideline. And really, the seat's nice and long, so you can position yourself further back if you're taller. So yeah, I think we're saying like it's around 5'5" to 6'4". Is that the right range, Andrew?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're good on that. Okay, we've already answered the weight limit, so we're good there. And we talked about the charging as well. So 3 to 4 hours on that one, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're totally dead, I mean, most people aren't going to ride this until it's totally dead, but
yeah,
just over 4 hours if it was totally dead to fully charged.
Yeah. And just, going back to people's feedback during the demo, everyone also was quite impressed with how little the battery was draining as we were riding it as well. So I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised with the range. Release date. So we are targeting August delivery for the first batch. The second batch, we don't have a timeline just yet, but it'll likely be December, January. We'll sort that out. Basically, what we want to do with that is we've got a smaller batch coming first because it's the first one, and then we'll collect some feedback And then, if any modifications need to be made based on feedback, that will happen. But yeah, we've extensively tested this one, so we're feeling pretty good about this first go. Okay. How big are the rotors?
The rotors are 203 millimeter rotors on the front and rear, and they're Magura rotors. And so if you wanted to make them bigger because they're Magura, you could get an adapter and put on the 220 mil rotors that Magura makes as well. If you wanted a little additional braking power. The only reason we are not using those is that the rotor is fairly thick, and so they squeak a little bit, those 220 mil rotors. So we're not using those because we got a lot of customer complaints. But if you guys want to use them for extra braking power, you can when you get the bike, if you felt like you wanted to upgrade it.
Okay. Any chance we will develop a small sidecar that could be used and include extra battery capacity?
We have not looked at developing a sidecar for this bike. One of the challenges with the amount of power the bike has and the weight and being able to keep it stable, we use sort of a squared out swing arm design. And so a lot of the sidecars that are out there, the aftermarket sidecars, they wrap around kind of a circular standard bicycle swing arm. We do have attachment holes on the back for trailers, but it wouldn't be enough to attach a sidecar. So that is not something that I think would work very well for this bike.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you meant a sidecar for the extra battery capacity, if that was a second question, or if that was like a sidecar full of extra battery. I'm not sure about that.
I think that was like 2 asks.
Yeah, so extra battery, you'd have to be able to carry a second battery. Like Andy sort of mentioned, the battery on this is about 30 pounds. So you could technically, I guess, buy a second battery and put it in the, some bag attachments that you put onto the rear rack, because the rear rack would have cargo capacity for that, right? Or in a cargo box that you bought to put on the rear rack. But yeah, I mean, this battery as it is, like, has quite a bit of range to it. So I guess it depends on what kind of adventure you're going for.
Yeah. Okay. Can I switch in and out of e-bike mode easily from the handlebars? Yes. It is literally a button. You just have to press it and you're good to go. So nice and easy to do that. Love the hat. Are you guys doing any merch rollouts? How about accessories? We just had a request for merch from E-Rock, who is in New York. And yes, I agreed with him that we need to get on that and update our merch. So stay tuned for that. We will get on that. It's been added to the to-do list. And then, yeah, we have already kind of talked about the accessories. There are, our proprietary accessories that we've designed are the racks. But we do have bags and panniers available on the site as well. A surfboard rack and some various like accessories like a cell phone holder, a lock, those types of things. So we'll be looking to expand our accessory lineup in the future. So yeah, stay tuned to that. All right. Assembly. Andrew, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, for sure. So The bike is pretty much the same as how our graffiti shows up. So when it shows up, it will have the front wheel off and the handlebars off and the pedals. So, and that's fairly standard for most e-bikes when they're shipped. So you will have to slide the wheel in, slide the axle in, and install that front wheel. The handlebar, it's a direct mount stem on the bike. So, you know, the stem is already there. You just have to position the handlebar in there and put the 4 screws into the stem to put that on. And then mount the pedals, and you just need a 15 millimeter wrench to turn the pedals on. And after that, you're ready to go.
Perfect. Just like IKEA.
Yeah.
Nice and easy. Okay. So do you have to stay with the color you reserved? You can change it. You can email us at info@lyriccycles.com. But if you can get your if you do want to change it, we're finalizing the order colors right away here. So you will have to get that change in before these go on sale, because they are going to sell out fast. So yeah, just let us know before Monday. Is there room for a passenger? Yeah, so we've spoken to that, and I think there's a photo here.
The seat itself is close to 3 feet long.
Yeah. We're seeing too much of my face on the screen at the same time right now. Rear rack price. You'll find out in a couple days. How about that? It'll be up on the site shortly, so we will fill you in. Will you be selling the tires on your site? Yeah, these are the V Huntsman tires that are all. No, they're not. Oh,
Nope.
shoot, my bad.
No, actually, and that's a good thing to bring up, because we started this bike with the V Huntsman tires, and we liked them and we wanted to use them, and we put them on the original prototype and we got it up to speed, and yeah, we found out that kind of above 35 miles an hour, V Huntsmans don't feel very round anymore. And that was a problem. And the fact that they were not speed rated to what we were getting the speeds of this bike up to. So that's when we switched to CST motorcycle tires. So we use CST brand tires on our graffiti model. And CST is a huge tire manufacturer, and they also make motorcycle tires. So this is one of their dual sport motorcycle tires. Has a similar tread pattern to the V Huntsman, but it's got a much rounder profile to it. And so it rolls really, really smoothly. Like, it's hard to actually tell the difference between this and a really smooth motorcycle tire. And it really corners quite nicely. So you can really lay this over on its edge. So yeah, they're now motorcycle tires, but one thing with that, I would not recommend trying to put these on a bicycle tire rim if that's what the question is for. So we will be selling them in the store as the extras to put on this bike. I wouldn't recommend putting them on a bicycle tire rim, because it can make your rim like go out of round for having the extra weight a motorcycle tire has.
Perfect. Okay. Oh, we just got a question on Instagram about the tires. Are they tubeless? No, right?
They're tubeless ready, so yeah, they can be made tubeless, but we're shipping them out with tubes in them.
Okay, great. Okay. Will the battery be UL certified? There's actually a couple questions on that.
Yeah, because of the fact that this is a fairly new requirement that's only just come out of the market now, it was too late in the development of the bike to be able to take this and get all that certification done now. So it's something that we're working on over this year, and are looking to have it in kind of 2025 forward. So with this model coming out now, we won't have UL certification for it.
It'll be UN though, yes?
Yeah, it's got the UN certification that batteries come with, but not the UL certification.
Great. And then once we get the UL, it applies back to the first batch as well, right? So if people need to show it to their apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Will there be a riser handlebar available for this bike?
Yeah, so we're looking to carry a 7-inch rise as well. What's on it right now is a 5-inch rise, so we'd be looking to carry a 7-inch rise. And then anything beyond that, the wires are going to get too short to go much beyond. But a 7-inch rise would make it somewhat like our Graffiti model.
Cool. And then we did get a couple people comment in New York that people loved the wider handlebars, but then also made the comment that it could be a good idea to have a narrower option just to like weave through the traffic a little bit more nimbly. So that's something that we can't promise yet, but we'll potentially be looking into.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a couple questions about pedaling. So how is the bike for pedaling? And Andrew, have you tried pedaling it when the battery dies?
Yeah, I mean, you don't get to develop e-bikes and not end up having to pedal them at some point when the battery dies. As a 120-pound bike, this is rather challenging to pedal when the battery dies, for sure. It's possible because it rolls smooth. It's not like you're trying to pedal really knobby tires, but I would not want to try to get this thing up a steep hill. It would be rather difficult to do that. So it's pedalable. And I'd say, like with any moped style bike, they are okay for pedaling. They're not designed for pedal ergonomics. We know that. We're trying to design bikes that are not that way because, yeah, there's a million bike companies that are designing bikes that way. So they're fine for pedaling. It has a 160 millimeter crank on it to keep the crank arms a little bit shorter. So yeah.
Cool. Okay, battery upgrades. How do you feel about that, Andrew?
Is it possible to upgrade the battery to a 72 volt? You know, when you own the bike, it's possible for you to do anything to this bike. It's yours, it's your possession. It's up to you. If you wanted to upgrade it to a 72 volt battery, that's not something that we're going to be doing. It's something that you could go talk to, you know, the folks at Chai Battery Systems or Lightspeed Batteries or others, you know, Powerful Lithium, or folks out there that are doing that kind of work.
Powerful Lithium was at the group ride in New York. And so, yeah, you can definitely reach out to them.
Yeah. The controller, because it's an ASI controller, is made to handle 72 volts. The motor would handle 72 volts. The battery case, I can tell you exactly, if you were to change that to a 72 volt battery, you would end up with a 72 volt 30 amp hour battery. So you would get less range, but you would hit higher speeds on it for sure. And so it's possible, but it would void your warranty on the bike because it's no longer something that we send out the door and we can support.
Yeah, and actually there is a warranty question here as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, go for it.
So all our warranty covers, you know, we say sort of tip to tail on the bike, but it does not cover consumables. So a consumable on a bike would be tires, tire tubes,
Brake
rotors when it's a challenge of use, brake calipers when it's a challenge of use, brake pads, the headlight, things like that. We do cover any kind of malfunctions with any of those things. And typically what we're doing is sending out replacement parts for those. So any manufacturer defect, and obviously we don't warranty damage, right? So if somehow you water damage this by shooting a pressure washer hose into the battery charge port, or something like that, right? Like we can't warranty that.
Yeah, great. Okay, is there any delay when throttling on takeoff?
So we have tuned down in the controller, the ASI controller, if you're kind of into this stuff, has something called a deadband range of when you hit the throttle and go to take off. We've tuned that down as much as possible. The direct drive motors are not as they're not as punchy as what a mid drive would be, but the takeoff is rather quick. So the first couple seconds feels fast, and then it feels like crazy fast on this bike.
The feedback that a lot of people, or the words they were using, is it feels safe when you're taking off. It's not gonna throw you off, but the acceleration and pickup is amazing, is kind of how people were describing it. So, and I think we've got E-Rock. I saw you're on here. So if you want to chime in on what you thought, because I know you wrote it a few times. Yeah, and we took videos of all the people who wrote it, and we do have testimonials from everyone who wrote it. So we're going to be putting together a video of that so you guys can actually hear straight from the people who rode the bike so far. All right, turn signal. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
George just came in there with a question that's kind of related to it, so maybe I'll touch on that, because it's yeah, do you have an app or a future app to do any tuning, like how you accelerate? I would say that we have spent the good part of 6 months working directly with the engineers at Accelerated Systems on the tuning for this bike to make the acceleration as much as it possibly can be, because that's what we wanted to develop. So there's no way to make this bike accelerate anymore unless you would have to completely rebuild the battery and put on a much bigger controller to make it accelerate any faster. But I would be surprised if you were not happy with how it accelerates. So we don't have an app right now that you can tune that stuff on. I know that there are aftermarket apps that people get to when they tune things, but I would suggest that you don't change the mapping of this bike, because it's been tuned to have the most performance possible.
Yeah, and there's some feedback here. Ben, who has also done a review, top to bottom mountain bikes, he said the throttle curve is so smooth. Over or after 20 miles per hour is nuts. So there you go. All right, we've got 15 minutes left here, so we'll just keep powering through these. Another one from George for charging. Is it safe to leave it plugged in?
Yeah, absolutely. It's similar to most chargers when you've got it plugged in. I mean, for one, the BMS will stop it, and two, the charger just green light comes on, and it's kind of done charging at that point. So yes, it won't damage the battery if it's charging for too long. With any charger, it's good to unplug it within 24 hours and not just leave it plugged into the charger for weeks on end.
Okay. Is the black on the production bike a bit different? It is, yeah. So this, I don't actually have a photo of the OG, but this is how it evolved into the next batch of prototypes. So this is what it's going to look like here.
The black specifically, like the color of the black is not different, but the
decals are, though, because I think we had like those orangey decals on there on that first one.
Yeah, the decals changed and the seat shape changed, but the black itself, it's like it's a 50% matte, so it's kind of like a satin finish. It's like between matte and well, it's nowhere near glossy. It's just like a little bit above a matte finish on the bike.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a couple of questions about dealers here. So, because we're doing a smaller batch for the first one, they won't be in dealers until batch 2, but our dealer partners are very excited about this one. We've actually had some people reaching out to us saying, "Hey, I'm getting all these calls about this bike. Can I carry it?" So that's always a good sign. And then dealers on the East Coast. So we are working on that. So stay tuned. We do have one dealer in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I don't know my states very well.
Yeah, I think it's
Radmoto.
Yeah.
And then Let's Roll in Lancaster. Again, sorry about my pronunciation. Pennsylvania. We have our eye on a very good dealer in New York, and TBD on that. Okay. What is this here? What's the widest motorcycle tire I can fit on the X?
Yeah, so you can look this up online. There's sort of a motorcycle rim and tire chart that's good to look at for mounting tires safely. This is a 16-inch by 2.5-inch rim, which will fit up to about 120 mil tire, but the best width for tires is about 100 to 110 millimeters. There's enough room in the frame to fit up to about 120 mil, which is about 4.5 inches.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's a few questions that I've just added in as banners here because we can't share the Instagram ones on here. So do those 2 suspension mounts here, or I guess these attachment points, are those to change the suspension, or are those attachment points for the rack?
Yeah, so you can kind of, on this photo right here, you can just barely see ahead of where that rear suspension attaches at the top. There's another hole, just a little bit to the right of it. And then to the left of it, further away, there's a second hole.
This guy?
No, yeah, you can kind of see it here. So if you look not on the side where you can see the suspension, if you look just over the tire where that screw is mounted, and then just to the left, you can see another hole. So those 2 suspension mounts, like, it doesn't seem like it would be much, but it does feel like a difference on the softness of the suspension, but there's not a meaningful difference in the seat height. It might change it by, 1/4 of an inch. So it doesn't change the seat height all that much. If you really wanted to change the seat height more, you could go and buy some aftermarket rear shocks that would drop the seat height down a bit. If that was something that you felt like you wanted to do, you'd lose some rear travel in the suspension. But if it was something where you were trying to fit for a shorter rider, like, that is something that you could look at doing.
I think people would probably more want to bring it up.
Yeah, if you wanted to bring it up, same thing. Like, you could actually, it's a 350 millimeter shock. You could go get yourself like a 370 millimeter shock, add that on, and then you would have added an inch to the seat heights. if you were trying to bring it up, but you would get this like, it would be a more aggressive looking attack angle on the bike, and you'd have quite a bit of extra room under the back of the seat there. But if that was something you were interested in.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we ship to Hawaii? We do. There are additional charges though. We have not yet priced out what that will be for this bike. It's a bit heavier than the Graffiti. So just stay tuned to our website, and then we will let you know what that extra charge looks like. How does the pedal assist work?
Yeah, so the pedal assist is a cadence sensor, so it just senses the number of magnets. So as the pedals are going around, it's sensing that the pedals are moving and turns the motor on. So you can turn the power of the motor down quite a bit so that you're still getting some resistance as you go. Obviously, with a 7,200 watt bike, you've got to turn that power down quite a bit until it sort of feels like, it's not giving you too much power.
Yeah.
There was a question in here about whether or not there's plans for a cadence sensor. So, we put a lot of the money into the parts on this that are, in the suspension, in the brakes, in that giant battery, in the motor controller, in our lighting system. That's where we've kind of wanted to put the cost into those. So right now we don't have plans to put a cadence sensor into this bike because it is a bit more of a throttle forward bike. Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a lot here. Okay, we've got 7 minutes left. We might not get all to all these questions. And the tool we're using does cut us off at the top of the hour on Instagram. So if that happens, we're still on YouTube and Facebook, but we'll try and get to all these questions quick. Okay, let me jump back over here. There was one on Instagram. How does it handle soft sand and possible corrosion for a gentleman who's in a beach town?
Yeah, so we've thought a lot about corrosion because we're in a beach town. Both Andy and I are in beach towns here and live on the coast. Belt drive obviously doesn't rust. The whole frame is aluminum, so it doesn't have any issues with rust. The battery case is aluminum, so it doesn't have issues with rust. So there's not a lot of stuff on a traditional bicycle that you would normally have to worry about that you have to worry about on the Graffiti X. And soft sand, it's generally fine. I mean, it has enough power that if you're giving it too much, it can obviously spin that wheel and bury itself. So you just have to be gentle on the throttle or use it in a lower power setting to work through the sand.
All right. A steel frame.
Yeah, no, I think we just went through that. It's an aluminum frame.
Sorry.
It's a 6061 aluminum frame.
Okay, great. We've talked a lot about the acceleration, but I guess just quickly, how does it differ from e-bike mode to off-road mode?
Yeah, I mean the e-bike mode is is limited to 750 watts versus 7,200 watts in the other. So the acceleration is fine in e-bike mode, but it's sort of shocking in off-road mode. So if you're riding in e-bike mode and you were to press the off-road button, you would feel a significant difference in how much it pulls.
Great. Okay. Let's see here. We do have reviews coming on the black bike. The black bike is here with me in LA. So again, we're doing demos on Saturday at Burn the Ships in Redondo Beach. So if you are in the area, come see me. I'm putting the demo link in the chat right now. You can sign up. Does it have cruise control? It does not.
No.
Is the seat wider than the 2023? It's actually a little bit narrower.
It's the same.
Is it? It feels more narrow to me. That's weird.
It's almost the same, but it's the profile of the seat is
Yeah.
slightly different. But yeah, so it makes it feel.
I think because the X is a little bit more rounded on the sides, whereas the regular graffiti is a bit more square. So
that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels a touch wider, but I guess it's not. And I guess while we're talking the seat, do you know the length off the top of your head?
Yeah, the length is about 31 inches, and the width is about 8.5 inches wide.
Okay. I think we have all of those measurements on the site in our specs section. If you scroll all the way down, I'll double check after. And if they're not on there, I'll make sure that we add them on there for you guys. If we order now, is August delivery guaranteed? You know, we would love to offer guarantees in this, but unfortunately, we can never guarantee anything like this. So far, things are going well and according to plan. But you never know. There's the thing to keep in mind with bikes is there's so many pieces that go into making the bike. So it's like one product built of many products. And so if any one of those things gets delayed, there's a chance of delay. So just, keep that in mind. But we are managing this super closely. And so far, things are looking good. So we'll keep you guys updated on, if anything comes up and any delays happen. August is looking good so far. But again, we can't guarantee it, of course. Weight for cargo. We already kind of talked about this. The max weight. What was the number we landed on? I can never keep all my stats straight.
Well, it depends on the weight of the rider, right?
Yeah.
But we have sort of said around a 250 pounds rider. So
like total.
So if you've got a 200-pound rider, then you have about 50 pounds of cargo on there, right? The rack itself, can hold more, but determine it around your rider weights.
Cool. Okay, if we get cut off on Instagram, we're 1 minute away. I'm sorry if that happens. We'll stay on and finish answering these questions on YouTube and Facebook. So feel free to jump over there and join us if that happens. Standardized connection points for the rack. And we've talked about that. So we will have the rack. You can attach a trailer. Andrew, what are your thoughts on the child seat?
Yeah, so I mean, the kids that are around kind of 7 and up can sit the same way an adult would on the back of the bike. If you're looking at seating like a younger child, you would need to use the rear rack, and we were sort of in design on a rail system that would attach to the top of the rack to be able to lock in your standard like Thule Yep style seat onto the back of that as well. That being said, if you are riding a young child around on this, you want to turn the power way down on this to keep it safe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sorry, in the trailer, I think we touched on that, but there is a mounting point on either side behind the rear foot peg, because a lot of trailers, they want to use the rear axle on a bike, but that doesn't work very well for hub-driven e-bikes because you're pulling on the same point that the motor drive is trying to drive from. We don't believe that's very safe. So on all of these, we've added this like trailer mount point just behind the rear foot peg now, so you can put a bolt through there, attach a trailer safely.
Cool. We've got someone on Instagram saying, I guess we are still connected there, so that's good. There should be a demo of people explaining then riding. And I think, yeah, we have them riding and then explaining about their ride and what they thought. So all that content will be coming out next week. And we'll be posting it everywhere. Okay. Couple more here. Is the first batch sold out? You know what? I'm going to come back to that one because we'll end with that. There's a few on range here. So full throttle or throttle range at an average speed of 25. So our projections are based on a 175-pound rider.
I've done all these too, though, right?
Yeah.
Like I've tested every one of these speeds. So
okay, go for it then.
So at full throttle, like full out, I went as fast as I possibly could go on this a few different times, and the battery will die in and around kind of 35 miles if you're going as fast as you possibly can. And
how much do you weigh?
Which is a lot, and I'm never mind.
No, you gotta tell.
I'm 6 foot, 205 pounds.
Okay, so that's yeah.
So I'm above the typical rider weight, or the average rider weight, if you will. And then going at about 30 to 35 miles per hour, you're going to get a range of around 50. And then if you're going 20 to 25, it's like 80, 85 miles. It's quite a lot.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the throttle only range with average speed of 25 miles per hour. So 25 to 30, you're going to be in and around kind of 55, 60 miles, which is a lot for a bike like this.
Yeah. Great. Do the shocks have a lockout?
The front shocks have a lockout. The rear shocks do not have a lockout.
All right. Okay. We've got, what do we still got here? Can off-road mode speed be adjusted to peak at a lower speed? I don't know if I understand that question.
Adjusted to peak at lower. To peak at a lower speed.
Like meaning setting the top speed lower, I guess. So you have your e-bike mode, which is going to be 20 miles per hour, and then off-road, obviously.
Yeah, no, that can't be limited. In the ASI controller, there's only one mode where we can limit the speed, and that's the on-road mode, not the off-road mode. So we can't limit the off-road mode speed.
Okay. All right. We can't take any more questions at this point. So if we didn't end, I think we got to most of them. But we'll just wrap up sort of telling you next steps and answering these last few that we do have here. So will we be sending bikes to influencers? Yes. So I mentioned at the start of this, we've got a number of reviews that are going to be coming out starting next week. So there's probably 8 already filmed or like being filmed right now. And there's a number that are still being worked on. So we should have probably like 10 to 15 by the time it's all said and done coming out between next week and throughout June. So yeah, we're really excited for you guys to be able to see all of that. We'll be sharing links to all the reviews on our email list, on social, all the things. So stay tuned for that. And if you're not on our email list yet, let me get you a link right now. I should have had this ready. 1 second. Okay, here we go. So yeah, that's the link for the VIP list. So join that to stay up to date on all of this. And then we've got this last question here. Is the first batch sold out? It is not, but it is over 50% sold out. And we did that in a matter of a week of sales. So the excitement is very high for this bike, and the demand is very high. The 50% that sold out, like I said, it was in that sold. The 50% that sold, I shouldn't say sold out, was in January, which is the slowest month for bikes. And yeah, it was 1 week. So now that we're in spring and people are pumped and there's a lot of really great reviews coming out and, you know, a lot of hype around this will sell out pretty quickly. So if you want to get one, the best way to do that is going to be, where's these banners coming from? Would be to get a reservation. So I'm going to put another link in the chat here. You can head to our website and the reservation is $49. That is going to give you 15% off on next Tuesday. So only people with a reservation are getting that 15% offer. So if you're pretty sure you want to buy this, I would get in on that because that's going to be the best price we can get for you. And it also gives you first access. So we've got more reservations than we have bikes available in the first batch. So you want to be on top of this and be quick. When they first went on sale in January, it was madness. The first 10 minutes were crazy. So where people were trying to get their hands on like the limited number of units that were a really good deal. So we're kind of expecting the same thing. So make sure you guys are on top of that. Okay. I think we covered pretty much everything. Let me just see if there's anything else. I guess last thing, yeah, if you want to do a demo in Southern California, like I mentioned, Saturday we'll be at Burn the Ships in Redondo Beach. So you can come hang out with us and try the bike out. And then, yeah, stay tuned next week for a bunch of reviews coming and more content and testimonials and all of that good stuff. And get that reservation if you want one of these. Anything else, Andrew, to wrap up?
No, I think thanks everyone for the excitement around this. It's been really fun developing this, and we really hope all you folks that are interested in purchasing or have purchased already, I really hope you enjoy the bike because yeah, it's been fun building it for everyone.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, we'll wrap there. If you guys do have more questions, there's a question box up on our Instagram in the stories, so you can throw them in there. Or, of course, you can comment. This will just, you know, after we're done being live here, all the comments will open up on YouTube and Facebook as well. So you can drop the comments there and questions, and we will be sure to get back to you on those. All right. I'm going to throw the little videos on again, and that'll take us out. Bye, guys.